Welcome, dear listeners, to Tales of Tomorrow, the channel that brings you spine-tingling stories and eerie encounters from beyond the veil. In tonight's chilling tale, join us as we embark on a harrowing journey through the haunted seas. This story, titled Nightmare on the Haunted Ship, tells the tale of a group of sailors who stumble upon a cursed ship where they must confront supernatural forces and face their darkest fears to set the restless spirits free. So grab your blankets, turn off the lights, and let's dive into the ghostly depths of the nightmare. Captain Rob stood at the helm of his ship, the wind whipping through his salt-encrusted hair as he steered through the stormy remote ocean. First mate Jake, a tall man with a grizzled beard, stood nearby, scanning the horizon for any potential hazards. The crew had been at sea for weeks, the monotony of their journey interrupted only by the occasional sighting of a whale or seabird. As the sun began to set, a thick, unnerving fog crept in from the east, swallowing up the waves and the ship in its eerie embrace. The crew exchanged uneasy glances as the fog rolled in, casting a pall over the once familiar deck. Sailor Mandy, a young and ambitious crew member, gripped the railing as she peered into the mist, a shiver running down her spine. Captain Rob frowned, squinting through the fog as visibility diminished. He called out to his crew, "Keep your eyes peeled, everyone. This fog is as thick as pea soup. I don't want us running into any unexpected dangers." The crew nodded and began to take their positions, carefully watching for obstacles hidden in the fog. The air grew colder and denser as the fog enveloped the ship, and a sense of unease settled over everyone on board. The laughter and camaraderie that had filled the ship just hours before had been replaced by a tense silence. First mate Jake leaned closer to Captain Rob, whispering nervously, "Captain, I don't like this one bit. There's something unnatural about this fog. It's making my skin crawl." Captain Rob, a staunch skeptic, dismissed Jake's concerns with a curt wave. "It's just fog, Jake. We've sailed through worse. Keep your head on straight and focus on getting us through." As the fog continued to thicken, a faint, haunting melody seemed to drift through the air, sending shivers down the crew's spines. Whispers echoed from the depths of the fog, as if ghostly voices were carried on the wind. Suddenly, through the dense fog, the outline of a mysterious ship appeared in the distance. Captain Rob and Jake exchanged concerned glances, both feeling an inexplicable sense of dread as they stared at the ship's dark silhouette. Despite his apprehension, Captain Rob knew they had a responsibility to investigate the ship, hoping to find survivors or at least understand what had happened to it. As they approached, they noticed the ship appeared abandoned and eerily ancient. With a sense of dread weighing heavily upon them, Captain Rob, Jake and Sailor Mandy prepared to board the ship, not knowing what awaited them in the chilling fog. As Captain Rob, First Mate Jake and Sailor Mandy approached the mysterious ship, they realized it was much larger than they had initially thought. The vessel seemed to have been abandoned for decades, with rust and algae covering its hull, and rotting sails flapping limply in the wind. As they drew near, the crew noticed the ship's name, barely visible through the layers of grime: the Forsaken. Captain Rob, feeling the icy grip of apprehension tighten in his chest, turned to his crew. "All right, everyone, stay sharp and keep close. We don't know what we'll find on board, but we have a duty to investigate," he said, his voice betraying a hint of unease. With a mixture of trepidation and curiosity, the trio boarded the ship, their boots echoing ominously on the decaying deck. The fog seemed to cling to the ship, casting eerie shadows that danced and swirled in the dim light. As they began their exploration, the crew started to hear unnerving noises, creaking timbers, rattling chains, and chilling whispers that seemed to emanate from the very air around them. The atmosphere grew increasingly oppressive, and they could all feel the weight of unseen eyes watching their every move. Sailor Mandy, her face pale and her hands shaking, approached Jake. "I don't like this, Jake. I can feel it. Something terrible happened here. I don't think we should stay." Jake nodded, his own unease growing. "I know what you mean, Mandy, but we have to see this through. The captain is counting on us." As they continued to explore, the crew stumbled upon the ship's dimly lit quarters, where they found the ghost of the former captain. His spectral form wavered in the shadows, his eyes filled with sorrow and regret. With a voice that sounded like the sigh of the wind through the ship's timbers, he warned them to leave immediately. Captain Rob, struggling to maintain his composure in the face of the supernatural, dismissed the ghost's warning. "We're not leaving until we find out what happened to this ship and its crew," he declared, his voice firm but tinged with fear. The ghost captain stared at them for a moment, his expression a mixture of sadness and resignation. He then vanished, leaving the crew to continue their harrowing investigation. As they delved deeper into the ship's dark and twisted past, they could not shake the feeling that the ghost's warning was not one to be ignored. As Captain Rob, First Mate Jake and Sailor Mandy ventured deeper into the bowels of the forsaken ship, they stumbled upon a hidden room that appeared to have once been the captain's study. The room was shrouded in darkness, illuminated only by the faint flickering light of a ghostly lantern that hung from the ceiling. The walls were lined with dusty books and yellowed maps, and an ancient logbook lay open on a rickety desk. Captain Rob, driven by a morbid curiosity, picked up the logbook and began to leaf through its pages. The ink was faded, but the entries revealed a horrifying tale of greed, betrayal, and a curse that had doomed the ship and its crew. The ghost captain appeared again, his spectral form materializing before them. His voice, heavy with sorrow, confirmed the tragic story uncovered in the logbook. He told them how his crew, driven by a lust for treasure and power, had mutinied against him and sealed their own fate. Their actions had invoked a curse that bound their spirits to the ship, condemned to haunt its dark corridors until they found redemption. Captain Rob, Jake and Mandy exchanged worried glances. The reality of their situation began to sink in. They were trapped on a haunted ship, surrounded by vengeful spirits. But the ghost captain, his voice tinged with a faint glimmer of hope, offered them a way out. If you can solve 3 cryptic riddles and prove your loyalty and courage, the curse will be broken, and my crew and I will be set free. But be warned, should you fail, you will join us in our eternal torment, he said, his eyes filled with the weight of centuries of suffering. Captain Rob, after a brief tense moment, agreed to the ghost captain's challenge. He knew the stakes were high, but he felt a responsibility to help the lost souls find peace. He also realized that this might be their only chance to escape the ship's chilling embrace. And so, with a mixture of dread and determination, the trio prepared to face the deadly challenge that lay before them. The ghost captain's riddles would test their wits, their bravery, and their very souls. But as they steeled themselves to confront the supernatural trials ahead, they knew they could rely on one another to face whatever horrors awaited them on the haunted ship. With grim resolve, Captain Rob, First Mate Jake, and Sailor Mandy began their perilous quest to solve the ghost captain's riddles. As they wandered through the dim corridors of the cursed ship, they encountered the spirits of the ghost crew. The tormented souls appeared as ethereal, translucent figures, their faces twisted in anguish as they were forced to relive their treachery and suffering. The first riddle, etched in glowing letters on the rotting wood of the ship's main mast, read, "In the heart of the ocean, I lie submerged, a treasure sought, a desire that urged. Though I possess neither silver nor gold, my worth is immeasurable, a secret untold. What am I?" The crew pondered the riddle, racking their brains for the answer as the ghostly whispers of the cursed crew filled the air. After much thought, it was Sailor Mandy who realized the answer. "The heart of the ocean," she exclaimed. "It's not talking about a physical treasure. It's talking about loyalty and friendship, something money can't buy." With a creaking groan, the glowing letters faded, and a hidden door swung open, revealing a dark passageway. The crew cautiously proceeded, their fear mingling with a growing sense of hope. The second riddle awaited them in the ship's gloomy cargo hold, where the skeletal remains of the mutinous crew lay scattered among rotting crates and rusted chains. "I am the beginning of sorrow and the end of strife, shared by the weak, yet feared by the mighty. In my absence, chaos reigns, but with me I bring life. What am I?" As they studied the riddle, the ghost crew's angry whispers grew louder and the air grew colder. The oppressive atmosphere weighed heavily on them, but they refused to be deterred. It was Jake who deciphered the answer. "It's order," he declared. "Without order there's chaos and strife, but when order is present, life can thrive." The moment the answer was spoken, the chilling whispers ceased, and another hidden door opened, leading them deeper into the haunted ship. As the crew faced each supernatural challenge and eerie confrontation, their bond grew stronger. They had to rely on each other's strengths and support to solve the riddles and face their own fears. With 2 riddles solved, only one remained. But this final riddle would test their loyalty and courage like never before, and the price of failure loomed over them like a dark spectre. Captain Rob, First Mate Jake, and Sailor Mandy stood before the ghost captain, their hearts pounding with anticipation and dread as they prepared to face the final riddle. The ghostly figure, his expression solemn, revealed the last challenge, a test of loyalty and trust you must face, where one must be lost to save the other's place. In the darkness you will find the key, but only through sacrifice will you truly be free. What must you do? The crew exchanged nervous glances, the weight of the riddle's implications sinking in. It was clear that this final test would demand a terrible price, and they each wrestled with the knowledge that one of them would have to make the ultimate sacrifice. As they descended into the ship's darkest depths, they came upon a vast chamber filled with ghostly flames. In the center of the chamber, a spectral pedestal rose from the floor, atop which rested an ancient golden key. The room crackled with supernatural energy, the air thick with tension and foreboding. Captain Rob spoke in a hushed, determined tone. "We've come this far. We can't back down now, but I won't force any of you to make this sacrifice. This has to be a choice." Silence hung heavy in the air as each crew member considered their options. It was Sailor Mandy who finally stepped forward, her voice trembling but resolute. "I'll do it, Captain. I know how much this means to you and to the Ghost crew. You and Jake have been like family to me. If my sacrifice can save us all, then I'm willing to make it." Tears welled in the eyes of both Captain Rob and Jake as they embraced Mandy, their hearts heavy with gratitude and sorrow. As Mandy approached the pedestal, the ghostly flames roared to life, threatening to engulf her. With a deep breath and a final, tearful glance at her friends, she reached out and grasped the key. In that moment, the flames surged forward, consuming her in a brilliant burst of spectral light. Captain Rob and Jake watched in horror and grief as Mandy's spirit rose from the ashes, her face serene and at peace. The golden key, now imbued with the power of Mandy's sacrifice, floated gently into Captain Rob's outstretched hand. The ghost captain appeared before them, his eyes filled with awe and gratitude. "You have proven your loyalty and courage, and through your sacrifice the curse is broken. My crew and I are finally free." With a solemn nod, Captain Rob clutched the key tightly, his heart heavy with the knowledge of the price they had paid for their freedom. As the ghost crew vanished into the ether, the haunted ship began to crumble around them. Captain Rob and Jake raced back to their ship, the weight of their loss and their victory weighing heavily upon them. As Captain Rob and First Mate Jake navigated their way through the collapsing haunted ship, the ghostly flames began to flicker and fade, their eerie light replaced by the first rays of dawn. The fog that had shrouded the ship for centuries began to dissipate, revealing a clear, open ocean stretching out to the horizon. With heavy hearts, they reached their own ship just as the haunted vessel crumbled into the sea, sinking beneath the waves in a swirl of spectral light. They stood on the deck, the golden key clutched tightly in Captain Rob's hand, and watched as the cursed ship vanished beneath the surface, taking with it the spirits of the ghost crew and their dear friend Sailor Mandy. Captain Rob, his voice choked with emotion, addressed the remaining crew members who had watched the events unfold from a distance. "Sailor Mandy gave her life so that we could break the curse and set the ghost crew free. Her bravery and sacrifice will never be forgotten." The crew bowed their heads in silent respect, mourning the loss of their friend and honoring her courageous act. As the sun rose higher in the sky, a gentle breeze began to fill the sails, carrying the ship forward into the vast expanse of the open sea. In the days and weeks that followed, Captain Rob and First Mate Jake led their crew with renewed determination and a deep appreciation for the bonds they shared. The memory of Sailor Mandy and the haunting adventure they had endured served as a powerful reminder of the importance of loyalty, courage, and the unbreakable bonds of friendship. As the ship sailed on, leaving the cursed waters far behind, the golden key remained a cherished memento, a symbol of the sacrifice that had been made and a tribute to the friend they had lost. The ghostly whispers and eerie shadows of the haunted ship became a distant memory, but the lessons learned and the love shared would remain with them, guiding their journey through the treacherous, unpredictable waters of life. And though Sailor Mandy's spirit had departed, her legacy lived on in the hearts of Captain Rob, First Mate Jake, and the entire crew, a beacon of courage and selflessness that would never fade or be forgotten. Thank you for joining us on this spectral voyage through the haunted waters of nightmare on the haunted ship. We hope you enjoyed the chilling tale of bravery, sacrifice, and the unbreakable bonds of friendship. If you found yourself shivering with fear and anticipation, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Tales of Tomorrow for more spine-chilling stories from the shadows. Until next time, dear listeners, may your nights be filled with thrilling tales and eerie encounters.